Welcome to Ask a Member, a program of the Adrian Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Ann Hughes, president of the Adrian Area Chamber, and it's my pleasure today to welcome Craig Corey, owner of the Rustic Gnome.
Hi, Ann.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I thought we were going to get the gnome impression there.
I left the hat at home. I brought the beard, though.
Okay. You have wine and beer making supplies.
Yes.
And you've already built up a good clientele. We're waiting to do the ribbon cutting. You're located out on West Maumee. How did you, when we first met you, you were with a business consulting firm.
Sure.
And you went from that to beer and wine making.
Yep, I still have the business consulting firm.
But tell us how you made that transition.
Okay, well, I've been brewing beer and making wine for a number of years, and a lot of local people, friends of mine, fellow brewers, said, gee, it'd be nice if we had a store in town where we could get supplies so we don't have to drive 30 or 40 miles to get what we need. And I happen to be looking to start a new business, and that sounded like a good fit. Okay. So that's why we started it up.
So what does all that include? What kind of things do you sell?
We sell all the equipment that it takes to make beer, wine, cider, or mead, any kind of alcohol beverage that isn't distilled like whiskey or vodka. We also carry cheese making supplies, soda pop making supplies, yogurt making supplies, anything that involves the process of fermentation. Okay.
What's the most popular process that people come in and buy supplies for?
Probably, it depends on the time of year, but we get a lot of beer makers in the spring. It's kind of hot to brew beer in the summer, so sometimes people will back off for a little bit. In the fall, a ton of wine makers because of all the fruit coming in. A lot of local people that, especially with our rural area, we have a lot of farmers or people that live in the country that grow everything from grapes to peaches to blackberries, which all make great wines.
So I know that,
about equal.
Wine you bottle. What do you do when you make beer ahead?
We bottle that as well. I have the little 12 and 22 ounce bottles and cappers to cap it off. It looks just like the beer you would buy in a store without the label on it. Of course, you can make your own label to put on there, but most people don't. But a little capper that pops the top right on and seals the beer in there.
I'll be darned. That's pretty interesting. How long have you been doing this?
Off and on, I've been doing it for I've been making wine for over 20 years off and on, but I got into beer a few years ago. I first got into beer, I had some gluten issues that were messing with my system, and I couldn't drink beer. And my brother-in-law, who's been brewing beer for 10 years, said, well, they make a gluten-free beer kit. Why don't you give that a try? And so I tried that, and it tasted good, and it was fun and easy. And then once I got my system back in order, I got back into regular beers. Making regular beer. I also found out a lot of the ingredients that they put into commercial beers can cause problems with people's health systems, besides the alcohol, but the ingredients there are not of the highest quality, and when you make beer on your own, you're using more natural ingredients and more healthful ingredients, so it's a healthier beer if there's such a thing. And that's kind of what got me into it, and then it just became a passion, and which progressed into a business.
Okay, very good. Do you have, does anyone help you with the business?
Yes, my wife, Denise Pask, she helps out with stocking the things. We're not large enough yet to have employees, but when I do hire somebody, I'm going to hire somebody that does brew or make wine so that they're knowledgeable. We want people that can help, especially new people.
Good customer service.
Exactly.
To have knowledgeable employees.
Yeah, and we have a lot of new people that are curious to come in. Towards the end of September, we're going to be offering classes out there on how to make beer, wine, cheese, cider, all the products that we offer. We're going to offer free classes to get those people that are interested but a little unsure of the process over the hump to try it out.
Well, that's a good marketing tool. If they take the classes and they do well and they like it, they're going to keep coming back and
make their own.
And make their own and buy supplies from you.
Yep, and people progress as they move along. They start out with the very simple kits and the simple beers and wines, and then if they really like it, they progress into the more complicated
So what's the difference, I mean, in a simple kit and a complicated one? What do you do differently?
Okay, with the simple kits, most of them you just, with the beer, you just mix with hot water and put it into the fermenter and let it sit for a few weeks, and it's ready to bottle. With the more complicated beer kits, you actually cook the grain, to get the sugars out of the grain. And the simple beer kits take about a half hour. The complicated take about 8 hours. So it's quite a different process. But
that is different.
I have a saying, if you can make soup, you can make beer. If you can make Kool-Aid, you can make wine. So it's not terribly complicated.
So how do you make wine? If it's as simple as Kool-Aid.
Sure. Well, with wine kits that we have, they come with the grape concentrate in them. It's basically grape juice that's been squeezed from fresh grapes and reduced, some of the water taken out. And that is just added to 5 gallons of water and put into the fermenter with a couple of additives. And it sits for a period of time, usually about 4 weeks, and then you put a couple more additives in for flavoring, and it sits for another 4 weeks, and then it goes in the bottle. So it doesn't require any cooking, basically just a little mixing and stirring. So it's a fairly simple process for the wine.
But it does take a while.
Yes, wine takes a little longer than beer. Beer you can make up and drink in about 4 weeks. Wine generally isn't ready for at least 8 to 12 weeks.
Okay. You mentioned something else too. You mentioned mead.
Sure.
It makes me think, every time I hear you say it, it makes me think of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
Right.
Is that basically what it is from that era?
Exactly. Mead is one of the oldest fermented substances that we believe that archaeologists have found. Mead is made from honey. It's basically a honey wine. So the sugar that ferments is honey, and because honey occurs naturally without any adultering, such as with the grapes or fruit, you have to get the juice out of it. Mead you use straight as it is. And mead kind of fell by the wayside a long time ago, but in the last 10 or 20 years it's really come back. People started drinking meads. Now they're getting pretty creative with them, adding fruit, adding hops, and it's kind of a little mini craze going on right now within the fermenting community.
What's the alcohol content of mead?
It can be as low as 3 or 4%, as high as 18%. Most alcohols that you ferment without distilling hit a maximum of 18%.
Okay.
You usually can't go above that. So you can make it as light or as heavy as you like.
Okay. Is that true with your beer and wine too?
Yes. Most beers will run in the 5 to 10% range. Wines can run anywhere from 7 to 18% as well. Ciders, which are made from apples, anything made from apples considered a cider, they generally run in the 5 to 8% range as well. So you vary the alcoholic content by how much sugar content is in there. So if you add some extra sugar in the beginning, the yeast have more sugar to eat and they convert it into more alcohol. So you can control, if you like a lighter beverage, you don't have to make it strong. If you like it heavy, you can make it strong.
So what's happened to your customer base since you've started? How have you grown?
Grown a lot with word of mouth, people coming in and finding out and saying, oh, wow, I didn't know you were here. Every week I get someone that didn't realize we were here. They've been used to going to Ann Arbor, Dundee, or Toledo. So they realize, wow, there's a local place now, and they get pretty excited. And I get members in, people come in, everything from I've never done it before and I'm curious to I've been brewing for 20 years or making wine for 20 years, I just need a few supplies. So it really runs the gamut of experience with my customers.
So there are a lot of people out there who do this.
A lot more than I realized, yes.
Well, that's great for you as a businessman.
Yep.
And speaking of you as a businessman, I mean, you're obviously an entrepreneur. You have or had another business, the consulting business,
Sure.
And now the Rustic Gnome. Somebody else is out there thinking about maybe starting their own business. As an entrepreneur, somebody who's done that, what one piece of advice would you give them?
Ask for assistance. Don't try to do it on your own. I think early on, and the way our society and the media portrays it, is that you have to be the lone hero out there. Get involved with organizations such as the Chamber and other organizations where you can ask experienced entrepreneurs for help. You'd be surprised how helpful other business owners are, because we're all in this together.
Well, people want you to succeed.
Exactly.
And every time we add a new successful business to our local economy, the better off the entire community is. So,
right, it helps everybody.
As you say, there are lots of people willing to help, lots of organizations, lots of people who have done it just like you. I'm sure if somebody came in and talked to you, you'd give them the benefit of your experience.
Yep, I love helping other, especially beginning entrepreneurs or even experienced entrepreneurs. Sure. Everybody needs help up the chain, and we've all had different experiences, and if we can team up and share that, it makes it easier for everybody.
Okay. Well, really interesting information, because I have been out to see your shop, but I don't understand much of the equipment that's out there. But it's nice to to learn more about your processes. Craig, tell us where you're located, what your hours are, and what your phone number is.
Sure. We're located at 1549 West Maumee, Suite C, which is in the Adrian Dry Cleaners Plaza.
Okay.
I'm open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., and my number is 517-263-9696, and I'm also on the web at rusticgnome.com.
Okay, very good. Well, next time you come back, we'll have you bring your Rustic Gnome persona with you.
All right, I'll bring the hat.
But you know, I've appreciated knowing you all these years and watching you progress. And like Craig said, if you're thinking of going into business, ask for help. And Craig, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Ann.
Thanks.